I'll tell you one thing great besides. Hello, my fellow YouTubers and my TikTokers. This is Roy back again. Proud to be here talking to you, talking about electricity. And here's Helena, miles and miles away. I'm in northern Florida on the East Coast, up in the Jacksonville area. And Helena's still down south below Key West. But I will have some equipment in here that when storms come in, the electrostatics in the air, and we'll check the electromagnetism in the air. I mean, this storm is so far away right now. It's over 120 miles away. Gotta be more than that. And this is outside, crazy little band. So I love to talk to you guys about this. So let's go back to my machine here. Waiting for my coil wire to come in to finish making my coils for my Clemente Figueroa. I started to wind some resistance wire, and the ohms between one end and the other will be divided out, broken down in 7 sections, and probably 70 ohms, 10 ohms per section. I'm going to set that up over here so I can tap anywhere, old school kind of thing. I'll set this up like here, put it on an angle, and sort of like I drew it out. Where did I draw it out? Did I draw it out here? Did I draw it out on this one? I think I drew it out somewhere. I never did I? Huh. Well, good. We get to see it. Well, not tonight, but so I did draw it out. It's right here. So I'll take that. I coiled out nichrome wire, and every point from point will be 10 ohms. Got me? And this is how. And the south side's directly hooked up to the positive side, which is always at the high end. These are the low end. Shooting it like a Gatling bird, like a Gatling gun. All right. So anyway, cool stuff. So anyway, so I took this setup I have right here, where the wheel turns, and this bifilar. You got 2 wires. You got a driver wire, and then you got a feedback wire. Feedback wire pretty much goes to a 2N3055 transistor, and the base on it is the start wire on the feedback, and the end wire on the feedback goes to the emitter, okay? And then on the thicker wire on the start goes directly to the positive, and the end wire of the start goes directly to the casing. And at the casing I got a diode, and coming out of the diode is going to go into the charging system here. We'll go over what I'm going to show you real quick. This is just pretty cool stuff. And that's it. So this is what we're going to display right now. There's the voltmeter, 12.757 volts coming out of the back battery, okay? This is going to be our charging battery. We're going to charge at 12.57. It's got some good volts in there still, so it's got some pressure in there. It's not down at 12 volts or 11.5. It's at 12.57, you know? So here is a charging battery, which let's go ahead and, for shits and giggles, because I didn't think about it, but I'm going to do it, is let's see what the voltage is of the charging battery. Now this battery here is going to run the driver coil here, so power in, okay? I don't have my meters hooked up yet, but we will be able to see what it takes to run this. And I will have it hooked up to my potentiometer where I can gauge the magnetic field inside this bifilar coil to where it's more biased towards the driver coil versus the emitter coil, or more biased towards the emitter coil versus the driver coil. So I can move a magnetic field within this bifilar. If you guys have any questions about that, feel free to ask. So here's the negative here. Here's the positive. And we're at 12.57 on this one too. Oh, pretty interesting. Okay. They've been connected, so it makes sense, right? That is the plus, and that's the negative. So the negative, we're going to hook up over here. The positive, we're going to hook up over here. And we're back to 12.57. Wow, good balanced batteries. These are deep cycle batteries, marine batteries, by the way. Walmart bought them a couple years ago. I still think they're brand new. I don't use them much other than this stuff. So they are, to me, my baby still. But anyway, so now the goal is we're going to hook up the negative side to the run battery. Now, you won't see the light go on. Remember before, when you touch this, you would see the light? So, but the 12.57 doesn't do anything either, right? We're still there and we're hooked up. So you're not getting the light back EMF. That's what that did before. The light showed when you touch, that battery got a jolt from me already, just because the wire's hooked up. Now this should, I'm going to turn it, and we should see the volts go up. You guys ready for this? Let's do it together. Let's smooth this shit up. From here you see my fingers. And let's start turning this fucking thing. Already went up to 12.8, 12.9. Stand back a little bit. Let the system do what it's got to do. The wheel's going faster. Don't forget, I got a little resistance on too with that rubber band. If I took that rubber band off, I get them bolts to climb even more. Let's do that. Let's do that. 12.9. All right. So I'm gonna stop it. All right. It's off. It's off. All right. Let's do this. Because this is like very important, because it's drag equals resistance, and you don't want that in your system. So let's take this out. Let's move this out of the way. Let this flow free. And this is only here so I don't hurt myself. You like that, guys? Tell me I'm not smart. Here, I got this in here, so when I bump into it with my elbow, I don't hurt myself. And I don't want to cut it because this wheel does sit on top of that wheel. We'll talk about this wheel some other time. All right. Right now, we're charging the battery in the back just by using the back EMF off of this. So that means when this coil is turned on to repel the wheel is in control of making this coil turn on and off based on the reaction. The wheel's waiting for the reaction from the coil. The coil's waiting for the reaction from the wheel on its next cycle between the here and here. This is cool. So, all right, so now we broke free everything, right? So now we're just going to go ahead and connect the negative. And again, you won't see, like, better before the light, right? You don't see nothing. It's just because now that it's going. Now that energy we were wasting with the light is now going into the battery in the back. And then we know the battery in the front's 12.57. The battery in the back is 12.57. The battery in the front was 12.57. This is the dry battery. This is the charged battery. This is going to generate energy back to charge the charging battery. And I guess in this whole setup, the experiments that we'll do, and I think you guys need to ask the questions, and then we'll do the experiments together. But I believe I see a lot more here to where we can actually, once the meters are hooked up, we'll see power out, power in, and we're using 2 batteries as storage. Doesn't make the fight fair. Ponder that question. Fight for free energy fair. So let's go ahead, and now it's on, right? And now let's go ahead and get her going. And we're at 12.59. We're going, and so far nothing's charging. Nothing's charging yet. That's not a good sign. Did I miss a wire? This is what the experiment's all about. That's connected. That's connected. 12.59. So we're going to 13 volts. There's a lot of pressure that's in that battery. This is also, back in the day, they called it desulfating batteries, that where there was buildup from the sulfate, I guess, inside the battery that would connect it. There you go. Look, it's getting ready to climb. 12.6. So we're going. So we're actually, the energy coming in to run the wheel and push the wheel's driving to a natural frequency of this coil here, and that voltage will start to exponentially increase as the pressure builds up in the system. In this system, there's no heat in the coil or nothing. This is just one freaking thing. I disconnected this is going faster. And I do have a tachometer. Once I get this all set up, it'd be all for all of us that start shooting different types of experiments that you guys request within this. There's so much you can go. There's so much potential just on what I'm starting. And when I get to the high potential, I'm going to blow your mind with my Tesla stuff. Are you kidding me? My high potential is going to be where my antenna is going to have. It's really wampadoo. And here we go. This is the antenna we're putting in. Look at this barbaric stuff. Look at this. Spikes in the ground. Here's ground level. Spikes in the air to catch the electrostatics. I already got the pipe. Oh my God, it's crazy. I was throwing this away, and I didn't get a chance to cut it up, right? So, I'm going to make that antenna, my old antenna that I had that I never got rid of for some reason. Look how long this thing is. This is probably, I don't know, 60 feet. So I'm going to use this and build the base with the points. I get the points now because Dewey, that's that Dewey pattern. You need, everything goes to points. Everything rounded out is dulled out. Anything that's on the top of like a Tesla coil to build up electrostatics in a secondary, the top of the secondary coil to the secondary prime, the secondary, that pretty much you're now collecting. You're collecting this pressure of energy of a electron. You are exponentially amplifying the pathway for a electron. Yeah, I'll get into that conversation later. We're at 12.60 right now. Getting ready to what? Is it getting ready to go up? Do I see a little climb? Anyway, this is a good way to clean out your battery. You're pulsating the battery to be charged. The back battery right there is being charged from the action of the front battery into this bifilar air core. You can put a core in here and you can get more bang out of this charge. Like, want to do a test real quick, guys? All right, let's do a little. Don't think I'm not ready for a challenge. Yep, you see what that was sitting on, right? Here's my core for these guys, top and bottom. Don't want to lose that. Don't want to lose it. All right, so let's take this without it sucking it out of my hand because I'm holding something. I want you to listen. Let's turn this fan off. This fan's making some noise. So that fan needs to go off. All right, now you can hear. Let's go ahead and give this a little bit more. So now this coil, the wheel will slow down, but all of a sudden the energy inside of it starts amplifying. Now listen. See the end of it? Let's see what happens to the voltage. 12.61. So the voltage is going up. And I apologize about this camera. There we go. Woo! Did that one hand. So the speed went down, which obviously there's your lens effect, but it's still moving. We got this long ass pipe. Don't think this is easy. Look how long this son of a bitch is. Oh my Lord. And it's 1 inch thick, okay? So it's in there, not laminate, it's solid. You see it sticking out at the end. And I'm 12.61, it'll climb. But what I'm gonna do now, oh shit. Yeah. You calling Charlie. Anyway, I'm gonna back this up, and what I wanted to do was show you with it backed up. Hold on. There we go. There we go. So, let's see what happens when you put the pipe in and then you back up. So right now we're at 12.59, it goes down a little bit. Let's get this going again. Should take off. And let's go ahead this time. I'm gonna put the pipe in, let's back to 12.61. 6.1, trying to go up to 6.1. Let's go ahead and take the pipe and let's stick the pipe, what am I saying, iron core, and let's put in what we want. So here's where I feel a good vibration. Let's go to the top here. Look at the speed. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So we got speed right now, right? But, and look at the voltage. I want to take my finger here. This ain't easy to do, but I want to say take my finger. Now stop it. So I've got now a core on the top. And now it's picking up speed. And let's see what's going on with the charging. I never put the core on the top side of the coil. It seems not to be slowing the wheel down. It's making the wheel go much faster. Much faster. More speed, bigger charge. So now let's take the same and stick it in the center. Now the wheel slows down, and now it's slowing to 12.62. Now I slowed the wheel down. Let me pull out a little bit. Pull out. Pull out. Wheels picking up speed. See that? Pull out. Pull out. So I got this much. Not much. An inch. Starts to pick up speed. The voltage here, 12.6160. So the core really doesn't. Ooh, 12.63. So I'm halfway in. All right, there's probably a halfer. Okay, let's give it a. Let's just speed it up there. All right, and the other thing too, so I could bring to you guys knowledge, we're just using 12. It doesn't hurt to take 12 or 36 volts, 2 or 3 car batteries, because it'll really whack the chrome off a trailer hitch when it comes over to this battery. If it's got build up and it's an older battery, this is perfect for that. You're gonna rattle its bones. It'll remember that forever. So here we go. So we're gonna stick half. We got 12.61, and we put half in. I'm looking at it. We're climbing here, 2 and 3. So we're getting something out of it. There's got to be a balance. I'm going a little deeper. Wheel slows down. That's a giver. Back out. The wheel starts to pick up, and then here we're at 6.1. I'm backing out a little bit right now. The wheel's getting faster. So, it all comes back to power in, power out. So now the wheel's picking up speed. So you're not going to get anything more out of, well, at least in pressure here we're dealing with. The pressure between what this coil's producing as a back EMF that's getting swallowed up by that core. One of the cores is really big. So if I just had a slug, but we'll do this experiment again. You guys remember this, okay? We're climbing right now, 12.61. As we get off here, a little bit more to talk about. But basically, the good thing is the iron becomes like a capacitor where it stores the energy. The difference between a capacitor and the iron is that the iron is stubborn. It don't want to give up having its friend hang out with them for a while, which in a monocular level, inside the iron, you're pushing both sides, the negative and the positive sides together, and you're rearranging them. It's almost like being at a Sunday church and you get to dance with girls at church, right? First time, right? Ever. You just dancing with them. That's what you get inside there. It loves it. It just wants to be there. Then all of a sudden you separate it it doesn't. That's my explanation, real quick. So. Looking at the volts. So speed's important. If you can learn anything from this experiment, I like to let you guys see for your own eyes. You see the volts popping up, so you're not wasting any energy for this wheel turning. We're not going to leave this as vague as I felt like I left it, because I wasn't ready really to make this video. But I wanted you to see from my eyes, at least one of them right now, because I only can see out of one eye still. But it does, I'll tell you one thing, if you lose a sense, you really do pick it up elsewhere. And life is what you make it. So now we're converting that back wasted energy that would have went to ground. Instead of it going there, it's going back into a charging battery. So what I meant when I just said earlier is that I don't have my meters in. I got them all in them boxes back there. They're all my DC and AC meters. Then I got my oscilloscope. We'll look at the spike. We'll look at the pulse. We'll look at the frequency. My RPM gauge will show you. Every time we transfer loads or try to do something, you'll see the wheel the driver gets negated in the transfer where the energy thrives from. But I got some other great experiments to really bring out to you, because with a potentiometer hooked up to the 2N3055 transistor, that you're able to bias the gate from the emitter, uh, and you're able to differentiate, my own word there, differentiate from those biases into the collector where the energy comes out. Because if you look here, I'm splitting the energy at the end of the collector. I'm using a dioide to head out, which the outside of the dioide is getting one energy, the other energy is getting wasted. So I can come off of that. I like splitting them in two ways. So you can go on and on, but listen, there's a couple things here. One thing is, this just fell over, and I can't wait to start building this. And back to my pole that I just showed you guys, and what I'm going to build up top, what I'm going to build all these. I have them all marked off, A, B, D, C, and the best thing ever, a long time ago, I printed out his patent, and I color labeled everything as well. So we're going to go into all his stuff here, and we're going to build raw. That's it. Raw, baby, raw. That's how I like it. I got a lot of good friends that are, they're jarheads. They're scientifically, mechanically, they're everything you can imagine, all in one body. And I'm like, Jesus. But they love me. Only because I'm able to pull them out of their head for a minute. And if you're only stuck in one part of this operation, you don't understand why the other parts can really have a bigger picture. I'll just leave it there. Because as you add different circuits and things oh my God, this is unbelievable. And you already seen what a core could do. We'll do short butt cores. We'll do another video test based on these numbers. Look, it's still climbing. As soon as it gets to 12.63, we'll get off. Air core. So if you want to increase the torque on this, okay, step this up way beyond what I got going. All right, let's do this. Let's turn it the other way and see. All right, 12.60, it stops. Let's turn it back this way and see if it does any, because I got this on an angle. That matters too. How close you have it here does matter. If you would have a coil for each one of these 12-inch 52, number 52 neodymium magnets, if you had a coil for each one, you create gorilla strength torque. Okay? So now you could take this experiment and step it up, which I'm challenging myself, I guess, once I get all this built, to go ahead and build a casing that goes around this. Only behooves me to do that only because I want to encapsulate this metal connected to this, and all this, aluminum and the magnets, the magnetic field of the iron here, the aluminum, all trapped in a magnetic moving field. Also, this iron, aluminum, rubber band, and then the polypropylene bottom, and the high voltage trapped in a polyplastic casing, so all the electrons stay inside, and the air has to ionize inside this encasing and be separate from the magnetic field. But this is aluminum, so it'll be having their 30 degrees off, maybe, I think it is, between the aluminum here and the aluminum here, and then the 90 degrees off on the iron, 90 on the iron, 30 on bismuth, 30 on aluminum. Copper maybe a little different, but I don't have any copper really, but I do here. But that's to really for nothing because it's to the wood. Interesting stuff here. All right, so let's put this back on. And you're at volts 12.60. You started at 12.59. It's dropping a little bit. It needs to be beat down. So now let's go ahead and send it downward and let it just start doing its thing. And you can see the voltmeter. Will react to the speed. Now we don't have the rubber band hooked up, it's on its own. But the great part of this is so multi circuitry like, meaning like you can up the voltage on the driver coil to probably 12 times 5. Every bit of 12 times 5 would be what? Leave your comments. 60 volts. So at 60 volts, you'd be able to still, without this even getting hot, but you'd have a lot of power in going in. That's a whole range of experiments too. And the other thing is when we get back to having matching magnets to coils, the torque is there. It sort of falls into the washing machine magnetic motor from Gerard Mooring. And he was fascinated because that motor had torque like no man's business. And with having that much torque, you think you can still overcome the lens effect. Well, you obviously don't know what happened at the end of his trail, but I don't see new videos out. So obviously I'll just say it didn't work out too well. You can't beat the lens effect. But what you can do is have systems for particular things and have them only stay in their wheelhouse. So if you kind of like what I'm laying out here is that this wheel would only be for not putting a load on here like we are right now and charging a battery. It'd be more like this only with 7 others were to very little power in with all of them in series, treating it like a Stepford motor in a sense, and having that torque being controlled by the bias of the transistor. Now the other thing I guess you would want to do is take the transistor and multiply and amplitude the system, and you can have more transistors running off the base of each one as a bias with a resistance to slow down the field to have a lag. We'll get into later about why would you want a lag when I fire up the oscilloscope, and having a lag is sort of what Tesla was into when he got into his induction motor. So no core. It takes a lot of dynamics out of the field here. So, and then having a rubber band is very minimal resistance. And you can adjust that by making the rubber band less tense. But I realized that in the Wimshurst machines, there's a certain tension that's needed in order for the effect to be at its finest. And we'll go through that experiment because I already been through it, and now it's time taking this, put it all back together, and now do these different circuits along with my ground system without using this coil to be leaned on to do my driving, say for my antenna. Heck no. This has nothing to do with it other than it's a timer. If I want the pulse rate, first of all, doing my numbers, I already realized in my resistance wire that I needed a pulse rate of 3,600 RPMs. Right now we're about 1,600, 1,400. I don't know exactly, but I'm just looking at it, right, with no resistance on it. So that means I go up in voltage. If I take what I have now, once I hook up the odometer, which is sitting right there, bam, there goes a magnetic. That's a magnetic point right there that feeds back digitally. Once that's up there, that'll let me know every time I strain the wheel and where it's coming from. And that's what we're going to do here in the experiment. So we can debunk a lot of stuff because it's here. I'm going to show you. And the other thing is, I love this stuff. I don't know nothing. Nothing. Not trained for anything. Quit 9th grade. Got my GED, but did nothing. And here I am. Anyway, charging back there, 12.62. It does show you a couple things that we went over and how they apply, but I can't wait to get the rest of the system going. The resistance wire you'll love. Yeah, I got tons of resistors. Yeah, that's my crystals. Yeah, we'll get into that. That's going to be fun. I got my potentiometers. I got my little DC electrolytic capacitors. Springs, very important. And then I got my, what are those? Resistors. They're just a bunch of resistors. Look at those. The little tips and stuff. Anyway, I rather go the old school and use wire that's resistance wire. Once you know the resistance from one end to the other, you can separate it and segment it like you want it. And what we will do is when the oscilloscope's hooked up to it, we'll use the oscilloscope, we'll use the resistance in between each one to make the hump perfect for the sine wave. And we'll find out what the true for the system, which these are ohm-wise, they're 3.4 to 3.5 ohms. They stay within those. And we're going to have that going through. There'll be 7 coils at the bottom, 7 at the top. The bottoms are designed and wound facing up where the north is, the North Pole in the core. That core I showed you will be in here. And then on the top will be a coil wound the opposite way of this in its natural precession, and it'll have the south facing downward. In between will be no core, just like this, an air core, and they'll all be in series as well. And we'll have the end coming out, and that'll be the pickup of a AC 60 hertz wave is what we're going to design here. And we're going to run that in so many different levels on power in, power out. Where in the system does the circuit break from another circuit? Like a lens effect, for instance. It's a dipole effect, meaning your inverse square law, in a sense, where you can only go out as far, up or down or out straightwards from the pathway out. And that also applies in the power in, power out, because you're using everything coming in and you're not even going to get anything out, if you're lucky, except for the directive purpose of what that is used. motor use, or RF systems, or other systems. Scalar waves, pulsating. Tesla's the one that brought us this pulsating effect, except for the Dewey. I'm going to give you Dewey right now. You guys ponder the Dewey. If you look at this real quick, M. Dewey, method of utilizing natural electric energy. There's his patent, November 12, 1889. Here's his patent number. Look at the top, spiky. I labeled out the letters so I can look in his writings and find out what he meant at each section. Also, there's ground level, and they show spiky at the bottom. Then in between, he's got make and breaks, magnetic fields. And he's already making a, way before our tap, telegraph ever came in. There you go. We're going to make this. We already have it. Look at the coils. Look at the freaking coils right there. South, north, bam. He's got mechanisms. We'll bypass all this. Obviously some capacitance there. And he's coming out, and he's got another coil there that's hitting every time it swings to a north or south. We got all them. They look familiar. Shazam. Yeah, buddy, look at that. Identical. How coincidental. This is a different system, too. That's not even, has nothing to do with this. Anyway. Resistance wire, love it, old school, back to that. I did write, but I did change the gaugeage. 22 gauge back in the day with 16.14 ohms per. And the frequency in kilohertz was 456.863.98 kilohertz. So 456,000. We don't need to be there, but we need to be 3,600 RPMs. And that will give me the pulse rate that I need to do the sine wave through here. So it's very important, the relationship between this, where we are, declining, yeah, 12.63. Between this, the driver, the feedback charging, also the 36 cycles here. It makes sense with the 60, 36, 360. There's a lot to break down here. You guys, leave your comments. Sorry to take up your time. But I had to show you one phase of the potential. Speed's very important. Breaking the dipole is very important. Having controlled systems work only controlled systems. The system itself and not being shared with other is important. The speed of this versus the intake and outtake of the coils here, of what they're producing here. And for even shits and giggles, I doubt you guys even started watching this and still here. But I have, this is interesting, but I have a buzz coil. I guess I don't have it right here, but I have a buzz coil that the magnetic field that you could tap off of here. Now, I'm sure when you do put it in, I'm sure it has a reflection back to the source, and I'm sure it slows down. Here it is. All right, you're gonna love this. This is a pro bono for everybody that stayed through this 44 minutes and 26 seconds of misery. So it's a buzz coil. I believe I got a magnet inside there. Looks like I do. And every time the magnet acts with the magnetic field here, it's going to open and close the gate and make a contact. So this is a great way to pulsate a out of circuit without interfering here. Now listen, when it goes on. No change in the magnetic field. You're now using the backside of the magnetic field instead of a draw of the electricity, which is running on the outside of the wire, not through the wire. Pretty cool. And this is running 24 volts. This thing slams. But you can put a bigger magnet in the back. I only got one. I put like another, like these little guys right here. I just swap that over. Drop that down. See that, right? I think I don't play around. Now there's a nut there, you see that? I can make the adjustment on the nut, make it tighter, so it don't back away as fast. I think that should make the speed go faster. Sure does. Barely hear it. You can back it up and let it smack. Just off the magnetic field. And it seems sometimes when you put something behind here, it gives it sort of like a friend to lean on, like this. So the magnetic field between this banging, this from the back end, EMF and magnetically, and the front of this being hit magnetically, there's a harmonic going in between this. Like for instance, like I'm gonna bring it up to that field. If I bring it now, it's just in front of, but there's gonna be a reaction. So to me, the wheel should slow down. I go away, it's picking up speed. Now if I go in front of here, seemed like it may have slowed down a little bit too. What? It's called experiments, babe. This is what we do in the St. Vinny house here. So we're still charging the battery. 12.63. She's running. No temperature, still cold. It's a good way to charge a battery. But there's a way to increase this, make it better, more efficient, maybe charge faster, bigger spike. We'll have to measure the spikes on the oscilloscope, see what we are getting. I think if we put 12, 24, 36, 48, and then 60 volts in different times and do the experiments, we'll kind of see there'll be a ceiling where too much is too much. And then 12 not being enough, obviously. Look, we're still climbing, 12.64. Come on, baby, I just seen you climb the 4 there. There you go. Woo! So you would have more going in. And I don't have a potentiometer hooked up either, but all right, you guys, leave your comments. Yep, this is how we're going to do it. If you guys want to do any live, I love to do some live, and I like to do some live with call-ins so we can talk about topics. Anybody want to do that? Leave your comments. We'll make it happen. Peace out. Me, you, and a microphone. We can talk about different topics. I'm wide open. I don't know anything, but I can. Once I'm there, you got me good. I'm in the room with you, buds. Leave your comments. There goes the voltage. So the true number here would be, or the question would be, power out of that battery to run this, minus the power back in that battery. How much was used to do this? That would be my question to every part of this process. Leave your comments. Peace out.